When my wife, Rita, was out celebrating with her best male friend at the company party, I packed my bags, left the divorce papers on the table, and walked out. Before leaving, I couldn't resist sending a final message on WeChat. I'm gone, making room for you. Half an hour later, she called. Jeremy, are you done causing trouble yet? She snapped. I couldn't help but scoff. I don't need you anymore. I couldn't care less who you're with. But I could tell she was panicking. Chapter 1 on. My birthday, I drove my wife to work. Just before I dropped her off, I asked, It's my birthday today. Come back early. I need to talk to you. She stayed silent for a moment before finally nodding. I'd been married to Rita for 3 years. She was a senior executive at a publicly listed company, while I was just a part-time designer. I took on projects here and there, earned a decent living, but it was nothing compared to Rita's salary. Most men might have felt pressured by a wife who earned more, but I didn't. I first met Rita when I was 16. It was love at first sight. She was 3 years older than me. When I entered high school, she returned as an outstanding senior to give a speech. Her delicate profile glowed under the sunlight like a fairy. After the speech, I tried to take a photo with her, but there were too many people. In a panic, I shouted, Miss Fairy! She turned, smiled, and I quickly snapped a photo. That was my first picture of her. I followed her footsteps to university and became her junior. After 3 years of chasing her, she finally agreed to date me. If it hadn't been for her family pressuring her to get married, I probably never would have had the chance to marry her, but after marriage, I realized that some hearts just couldn't be warmed. On my birthday, I ordered a cake and made dinner, waiting for her to come home. From 6 p.m. to 9 p.m., she still hadn't shown up. I finally called her, but she didn't answer. Just as I was about to give up, Santiago, her so-called best friend, sent me a video. In it, Rita was hugging him, laughing, surrounded by colleagues. They were popping champagne. Everyone seemed happy. Jeremy, Rita closed the deal for the B-City project and is celebrating. Don't spoil the mood, Santiago wrote. His message shattered what little hope I still had. I should have seen this coming. Rita had always put me last. I didn't reply. Instead, I heated up the food, ate alone, lit the candles, and blew them out, making a wish. When I was 16, I wished to be with Rita forever. Now at 26, I wished to let her go. I'd noticed a year ago that Rita's relationship with Santiago was more than just friendship. Whenever Rita was tired, Santiago was the one she called. Whenever she had a difficult case, he was the one who stepped in to help. At first, I thought he was just a reliable right-hand man, until I realized the way he looked at her was far from innocent. Their actions had already crossed the line. I began receiving anonymous messages. Soon, my phone was full of intimate photos of the two of them. The first time I saw them, I panicked and confronted Rita. She only seemed annoyed. Jeremy, it's just a hug. He's my friend. Don't make a scene. I told her to keep her distance from him, even arranged for someone to deliberately hug her in front of me to provoke her. But Rita saw right through it and ignored me for a week, showing me with her actions that threats wouldn't work. So, I stopped causing trouble. Secretly, I promised myself, once I had 100 photos, I would leave. It wasn't even 100 yet, but I couldn't take it anymore. Each photo felt like a knife cutting me open, leaving wounds that bled and blurred. At midnight, Rita still hadn't come home. My birthday was over. Everything I'd wanted to say no longer mattered. I packed my bags, left the divorce papers behind, and walked out. Some things, if you don't do them now, you'll never get the chance again. The next morning, I took the earliest flight to the capital, not for sightseeing, for something important. Chapter 2. Mr. Liu, the neurosurgery department at Capital Medical University is the best in the country. If you go there, there may still be a chance. That was the doctor's advice. I have a tumor in my brain. Lately, I'd been fainting more frequently. Sometimes my vision went completely black. The doctor said the tumor was pressing on my optic nerve. I could eventually go blind. I'm not ready to die yet. But the condition was worse than I thought. All I could do was delay it. As for Rita, forget it. As soon as I landed, Rita called me. Jeremy, what's your problem? What's all this about? Her voice was hoarse and angry. I raised an eyebrow, looked at the clear sky. The weather was perfect. My mood was lighter. Rita, yesterday was my birthday. There was a pause on the other end. Then, sorry, I know you closed the deal for the B City project. Congratulations. At that moment, I felt surprisingly calm. Sign the papers. I'll be back in a month. To my surprise, Rita didn't get angry. Instead, she said lightly, if you're in a bad mood, it's good to get away for a while. As for the divorce, let's not talk about it. But she hung up. I smiled bitterly. Then my phone buzzed. She had transferred me enough money to live comfortably for a month. Such a pity. I didn't have much time left. After completing my hospital paperwork, I visited my old school, my alma mater. This was the place I had followed Rita to, where I'd spent 4 years of my life. The tree-lined avenue was still the same. Walking there, I thought back to the accidental encounters I'd created with Rita. Every time, she would smile faintly and say, Jeremy, we've run into each other 3 times today. Do you have something you want to tell me? I would blush and stutter. Do you like spare ribs? I'll cook for you. Having seen so many flowers and luxury gifts, Rita had been surprised that I cooked for her, 1 serving of sweet and sour spare ribs, and I won her over. Later, during another meal, we made our relationship official. She wiped her mouth and asked, Want to try? Suddenly, my head throbbed. I crouched down. The pain spread. My vision went black. I quickly took 2 pills, waiting for the pain to subside. Then, another message came. You think leaving will solve anything? Jeremy, give up, the first message I'd received since the photos. Looks like he was getting anxious. I don't want her anymore. I blocked the number and continued, walking around campus, leaving behind the last bit of nostalgia and before heading to the hospital for treatment. They shaved my head, staring into the mirror. I saw a bruised, hollow-eyed man staring back. Then, more messages came, relentless, until finally a video, Rita and Santiago, at a bar under dim lights holding hands, smiling like lovers. So this was her idea of giving me space. I took a deep breath. Another message. Quit. You're not good enough for her. How amusing. I'd already quit. It was just that Rita wasn't happy with the way I left. No surprise, as a senior executive at a publicly listed company, any scandal could ruin her career. Clearly, the anonymous tipster hadn't thought this through, or maybe they had. Maybe they just didn't care, or maybe they thought I would endure it silently. Fools. I blocked the number again. Chapter 3. When Rita called, I had just charged hundreds of thousands to her card, surgery fees and expenses. The senior doctor smiled at me kindly. Don't worry, kid. We'll get through this together. My nose burned. I nearly cried. From Liangcheng to the capital, I was completely alone. But the doctors treated me with such care and warmth, it nearly broke me. It was then Rita called again. Jeremy, how are things over there? You've spent so much money, I hope you're feeling better. Her tone was cold. Through the signal, I could tell she wasn't in a good mood. What? Feeling guilty now? No. When are you coming back? Mom and Dad keep asking where you are. It had been a week. I'd done everything I needed to do. And only today had I checked into the hospital. I wasn't going back. Just then, a nurse's voice rang out. Bed 28! Blood draw. You're at the hospital? I laughed. Apparently Rita hadn't been home in days. Otherwise she would have seen the diagnosis report I left on the table. I was feeling off, so I came for a checkup. Rita, haven't you been home these days? I waited for an explanation. If she gave me a reasonable one, I'd believe her. I've been busy lately. At the company, or with Santiago. It wasn't a question, because just then another set of photos arrived, time-stamped from last night. Rita, asleep. A man's arm around her, the 2 of them hugging tightly. Looking peaceful and content, I sneered. Have you signed the divorce papers? This 300,000, consider it part of the asset division. Rita was furious. Don't you dare, Jeremy! What are you causing a fuss over now? I've told you 1,000,000 times he's just a friend. You sit at home all day, your brain's gone numb. I'm telling you, stop now. Enough already! But I wasn't angry anymore. Rita, if one day I die, will you be sad? No, Jeremy, come back. We need to talk, I sighed. Why was divorce so complicated? Just as I was about to hang up, Santiago's voice came through. Rita, is he suspecting me again? Oh, I knew I shouldn't have come back. Jeremy's too petty. Don't worry about him, Rita replied. He's just bored with his good life. I didn't wait to hear more. I hung up. A sharp pain exploded in my skull. I steadied myself, opened WeChat, and posted, "I'm leaving, giving you two some space." I tagged Rita and Santiago, let them think I'm petty. Rita had just closed the B-City project. By doing this, I caused the two companies to suspend collaboration immediately. While waiting for my test results, I went to the hospital garden, took a few photos, and posted, "The sun's nice. The view here is great." Almost immediately, Rita called. "Jeremy, you're disgusting. You really want to ruin me, don't you? Why don't you just die?" Chapter 4, when I heard Rita's curses, I didn't react. It felt like something inside me snapped. I faintly heard someone calling for a doctor. Then Rita's impatient voice. "Jeremy, what are you acting for now?" When I woke up, the doctor was looking at me seriously. "Jeremy, where's your family?" "I don't have any family. Just tell me." "I can take it. My parents had divorced when I was 10 and remarried other people. I'd been alone ever. Since I was used to it, I was used to handling everything by myself." The doctor's eyes softened with sympathy before he said quietly, "The test results aren't good. The brain tumor is growing fast. With surgery, your survival rate is only about 30%. But if you don't undergo surgery..." My heart sank. I swallowed hard, forcing myself to look him in the eye. "Tell me, how long do I have left?" The doctor pressed his lips together. "Without intervention, 3 months. Maybe less." I knew 3 months was probably optimistic. The tumor was growing too quickly. The attacks had gone from occasional dizziness to splitting headaches, and lately even moments where I completely lost my vision. The doctor wasn't exaggerating. "Mr. Liu, you're still young. You have to have hope," he encouraged gently. His words made me smile faintly. I nodded. A 30% chance was still a chance. It was worth the gamble. "I'll go through with the surgery," I said. Once I agreed, the doctor immediately developed a surgical plan. I cooperated with every step. Because it was a major surgery, I needed a family member's signature, but I refused. I insisted on signing everything myself, even leaving a written statement that I wouldn't hold the hospital responsible if something went wrong. By the time everything was ready, 3 days had passed. Meanwhile, news of my situation had gone viral online. People were buzzing about my marriage with Rita, even posting photos from our wedding alongside photos of her with Santiago. The uproar was intense. I stayed in the hospital and barely checked my phone, but I still saw the endless notifications. I swear I didn't leak those photos, but seeing them still felt like a knife to the chest. Then it hit. Another wave of pain, so sharp I doubled over on the bed, curling up like a shrimp as cold sweat drenched my body. In the pictures, Rita's shoulder was exposed, and Santiago was leaning close, his head against her neck. The intimacy between them was undeniable. As I struggled to breathe through the pain, my phone rang. It was Rita. I forced my hand to move and answered. Her voice came through, sharp and angry. "Are you crazy? Get back here right now and explain yourself. The company suspended me over this, Jeremy. Are you happy now?" I bit my lip, fighting to stay conscious. "Rita, let's get a divorce. Leave me, then you can be with him openly. Why deceive yourself any longer?" "Jeremy," her voice cracked. "Even if you die, you're still mine." She hung up. I couldn't hold on any longer. Darkness swallowed me. When I woke up, my vision was blurry. I called the doctor. "Mr. Liu, your condition can't wait anymore. The tumor is progressing rapidly," he said gravely. I stayed silent for a moment, then nodded. "Go ahead with the surgery. No matter what happened, I wouldn't regret it." When Rita yelled at me earlier, I hadn't been angry, just sad. She hadn't even divorced me yet, but now there was a storm of online abuse and I had become the target of everyone's pity. To be honest, I didn't want any of this attention. I just didn't want whoever posted those photos to feel smug. Half an hour later, I was wheeled into the operating room and given anesthesia, and then... nothing. When I opened my eyes again, I was back at my home in C-City. I froze. Had the surgery succeeded? "Rita, I started, but stopped abruptly when Rita stood up and walked straight through me. My blood ran cold. She couldn't see me. I looked down at my own hands. I couldn't touch anything. I had died. I died on the operating table. The tumor was even bigger than the doctor had expected. During the craniotomy, the pressure ruptured a blood vessel. Despite all efforts, the surgery failed. That 30% miracle never happened. For a long moment, I just sat there in shock. Then a bitter thought crossed my mind. I hadn't even divorced Rita yet. What a pity. She'd still have to deal with all the trouble. Because of my WeChat posts, netizens had started digging into everything, dragging Rita into even more scandals. Just then, she opened the door, letting Santiago in. They immediately started discussing how to handle the fallout. As I was about to leave, Santiago's words froze me in place. "Let Jeremy clarify this," he said. "It's better than 1,000 words from us. Give him money, whatever he asks for. Otherwise, you won't keep your position. Too many people in the company are watching you. Let me clarify?" I almost laughed. I was dead. How could I possibly clarify anything? I sat on the sofa as Rita tried calling me again and again, but of course my phone stayed off. Finally, she lost her temper and smashed it against the ground. "Bastard! He did this on purpose!" Even now, she was still blaming me. I wondered what happened to my diagnosis report. I had left it on the table before going to the hospital, but now I couldn't find it. Santiago tried to calm Rita down. "Why don't we just announce it now?" Rita's head snapped up. "What did you say?" "Only by announcing it can we get through this. If Jeremy isn't answering, that means he doesn't care. Since he's not coming back, No, not now," Rita cut him off. I blinked, stunned. I had assumed they were already together. If they announced it now, I wouldn't have doubted it, but Rita actually refused. A shadow passed over Santiago's expression. "Rita, are you in love with him? You only married him to make your parents happy." I smiled bitterly. Yes. From the beginning, I knew it was just formality. I had pursued Rita for 3 years before she agreed to date me. After graduation, I was afraid she'd break up with me, so I stayed in this city working tirelessly to give her a beautiful wedding. But when I proposed, she just said, "Jeremy, I'm not interested in that. Let's just get the license and have a simple meal." I had felt a little disappointed back then, but the thought of Rita becoming my wife had made me agree. On the day we registered our marriage, I secretly took a photo of her and had it developed, hiding it in my album. After marriage, I rarely interacted with her parents except for the occasional call where they'd remind me to take care of her. And now I was gone. Rita had become a widow. I didn't like that word. Her family would be furious when they found out. "Let me think about it," Rita said finally. "If you wait too long, the company might give up on you," Santiago warned. Were things really so serious? After Santiago left, Rita received a call. I glanced at the screen and froze. My name was on the caller ID. "How was that possible?" She answered, her tone cold. "Jeremy, are you done messing around yet?" But the voice on the other end wasn't mine. "Is this Mr. Liu's partner?" "This is Capital Hospital. Mr. Liu's surgery failed. Despite all efforts, he passed away. Please come complete the paperwork." Even I could hear the voice. The hospital must have found my phone and charged it before calling. I had saved Rita's contact as wife, which is probably why they reached her so quickly. Rita's face went pale. She froze for what felt like forever. "You're saying he passed away after surgery?" "Yes, the tumor spread, the surgery failed. He said he had no family, so he signed the consent himself. Please come take him home." When the call ended, Rita sat there dazed, until she finally rushed out the door. I was pulled along by some invisible force. 3 hours later, she saw my body. She finally believed it. Even I was shocked at the sight. My head was shaved. A long line of stitches running across my skull like a grotesque centipede. That was the last image of me in this world. Before the anesthesia, I had heard the doctor's voice. "Jeremy, hang in there. We'll create a miracle together." I had smiled and closed my eyes. Dying this way wasn't too bad. At least I wouldn't suffer. I had already decided that if I survived, I'd travel the world and leave all the unhappy things behind. If I didn't, well, it didn't matter. I had already donated all my money. You come into this world with nothing, and you leave with nothing. Looking at my own body under the white cloth, I smiled faintly. So this is me, except for the ugly haircut. It wasn't too bad. Rita fainted on the spot. When she woke up, she didn't speak. She just quietly changed my clothes, arranged the cremation, signed all the paperwork, and took my ashes home. She picked a beautiful cemetery for me, expensive, spacious, and paid for with her money. She even bought a double grave. I thought it was ominous. I would have preferred to be alone, but I didn't pay for it, so I didn't get a choice. On the day of the burial, Rita was the only one there. Her eyes were red, but she stayed silent. Back home, she lay on the sofa holding my photo, refusing to eat or drink. Seeing her like that, I couldn't help but laugh bitterly. What's the point? I'm dead. Who are you doing this for? After 3 days, I tried to leave, but every time I reached the door, something pulled me back. If she doesn't leave. I can't either, I muttered. One day, Rita went into the study and started rummaging through my things. She soon found the book hidden in the cabinet. It was my diary, titled The Days I Spent with Rita. In it were all the little moments I'd recorded since before I went to the Capitol. March 1st. Rita still remembers me. How wonderful. March 4th. I waited for her on this road for 2 hours before she finally agreed to dinner. March 5th. She told me not to waste my time. I felt dejected, but I didn't give up. November 3rd, I received another photo. Rita and Santiago were embracing. I decided that when I reached 100 photos, I would let her go. I wouldn't stand in the way of her happiness anymore. November 4th, the anonymous sender sent me 2 more photos. This time, they were even more explicit. Rita had promised to have dinner with me, but instead, she went with Santiago to a Western restaurant. November 8th, I bought Rita a gift, but she never opened it. November 9th, my checkup results were bad. Should I tell her? As Rita read, she broke down crying, clutching the book to her chest. I sighed and blew gently, sending a soft gust of wind through the room. Rita jumped and looked around. Jeremy, is that you? She collapsed to the floor, fragile as glass. I could only shrug. It's all in the past. I'm not angry anymore. Chapter 8 Santiago came a week later. When he saw Rita, he froze, stunned by how she looked. Why do you look like this? Rita shook her head, her voice cold. What are you doing here? Rita, did you even hear what I told you last time? He demanded. This is the company's decision. If you just accept it like this, all these years will be wasted. He handed her a dismissal letter along with a demand for compensation. But Rita barely reacted. She just placed the papers aside and said quietly, You did this, didn't you? Santiago's face stiffened. What? Rita shoved my phone at him. I couldn't understand why he insisted on divorcing me and even went to have surgery alone. But now, I get it. It's all because of you. Santiago, you were the one provoking him, sending those photos every day, weren't you? Only you used this number. No one else could have known those details. Santiago froze. Rita's face darkened. She had finally put the pieces together. Who wouldn't have been angry seeing those photos? She sank to the floor, her voice breaking. No wonder he asked me to come back early on his birthday so we could talk. But you forced me to celebrate instead, saying birthdays didn't matter. Jeremy must have been so disappointed that he just gave up. She glared up at him. Santiago, you disgust me. Santiago stayed quiet for a long moment before sneering. Rita, you're such a hypocrite. Rita's breath caught. She hadn't expected him to say that. I, on the other hand, thought to myself that he wasn't completely wrong. You can't have everything both ways. Santiago kept pressing, his voice sharp. You didn't love him. So why question me now? Don't tell me you're here to fight for him. What you really care about is your career, your future. He grabbed her roughly, his face twisted with excitement. We agreed to fight together, Rita, but now because of a man you're acting like this? Just look at yourself. He dragged her into the bathroom and forced her to look in the mirror. Rita stared at the exhausted, worn-out woman staring back at her and suddenly gave a bitter laugh. Santiago, from the very beginning, I knew this was just mutual use. Jeremy wasn't a greedy man, not like you. Santiago froze, then threw back his head and laughed. Greedy, so that's what you think of me? Rita, you act so righteous, but we both know the things you did to climb your way up. Rita turned her head, her eyes blazing with fury. You're just using the dean's daughter for your future. Don't think I don't know? I just took a wrong step, Santiago sneered. But I came back in time. We both got what we wanted, didn't we? Now I'm telling you, your career is what matters most. I just don't want to see you sink like this. Giving everything up for a man isn't worth it. As for public opinion, I've already hired someone to control it. But you still need to issue a statement. If you don't, our project will be canceled. The company values this deal. I hope you think about the bigger picture. Rita just stared at him. You should go. But Santiago refused to leave. Give me a straight answer, Rita. I can't miss this opportunity. I've waited too long. If I lose it now over baseless accusations, I'll have to start all over again, Rita snapped. She slapped him hard across the face. Baseless? If you hadn't provoked him and sent him those photos, he would never have posted that WeChat. Santiago's face darkened in rage. He shoved her to the floor without hesitation. I was furious. I lunged forward to stop him, only to realize my hands passed straight through. Santiago. How dare you? He looked down at Rita with cold disdain. What, are you angry now? Weren't you the one who gave me those signals? Made me think I had a chance? Don't play innocent. Everyone knows how you got your position. He threw a piece of paper at her. If you don't issue a statement, it's either the fish or the net. Your choice. He stormed out, slamming the door behind him. Curious, I crouched to look at the paper, and a loud buzzing filled my head. It was a guarantee letter. Rita's handwriting. Back in university, she had written this letter after being caught by her senior's girlfriend, because she'd been having an affair with him. I stepped back, shaking my head. Whatever sympathy I had left for Rita completely vanished. I thought back to the night before my birthday years ago. Rita had shown up with injuries on her face. When I asked what happened, she said it was an accident. There were rumors back then, but I was too infatuated to care. When Rita agreed to date me that night, I was so happy that I made it official immediately. Now I realize I was just her backup plan. After she was scolded by her senior and didn't want to deal with his girlfriend anymore, she came to me. I was so stupid. Chapter 9, I turned around and went into the bedroom while Rita's sobs echoed from the living room. At that moment, all I wanted was to leave and change my tombstone while I was at it. Where was the lawyer? I had paid a fortune for this service. Why hadn't he shown up yet? I sat there alone, Rita's crying giving me a pounding headache. I closed my eyes to rest. I couldn't leave anyway. Over the next few days, Rita spiraled further into despair. The love triangle and online rumors were spinning out of control. Someone even spread the news that I was dead. Corporate. Executive cheats with her husband's best friend. Husband dies of terminal illness. The internet exploded. Insults flooded every corner. First, they went for Rita's company website. Your company is bold. Letting someone like her be an executive. This woman is clearly promiscuous. Poor guy. Cheated on and left to die. Rita the old green tea. She was a mistress in school, got beaten for it, then found herself a backup man. That Santiago guy isn't any better. Trash man, trash woman. I scrolled through the comments on my phone. Strangely calm, all the feelings I once had, the anger, the heartbreak, had almost completely faded. I didn't care about Rita and Santiago's past anymore. I just didn't want to stay here. One night, the police arrived. Rita's company couldn't reach her, so they called the police. She was drunk, unconscious. I followed her to the hospital, where they said she had tried to commit suicide by taking pills, clutching my book in her hands. Luckily, they saved her in time. When Rita woke up, her pupils shrank and she suddenly lunged toward me. Jeremy, it's you, right? I froze. Could she see me? Before I could react, a voice said, He's dead. I turned around. The lawyer had finally arrived. Miss Rita, he said calmly, I am Mr. Liu's lawyer. I have something to inform you. Rita's face went white. Impossible. She collapsed to the ground, trembling. I'm not divorced from him yet. He wants to leave me? Miss Rita, Mr. Liu entrusted me with handling the divorce case, the lawyer said evenly. It was delayed, but he instructed us to proceed. He said to let him go and let you go too. He placed a file in front of her. All the evidence of your improper relationship with Santiago has been collected. Mr. Liu hoped you would no longer hold him to this marriage. Rita sat frozen for a long time before suddenly laughing bitterly. So Jeremy, you've completely given up on me. Mr. Liu gave you 100 chances, the lawyer said, but you never cherished them. He was direct and sharp, exactly why I had chosen him. Even if he had been expensive, when I first contacted him, he refused me. I had to mortgage everything, what was left after the surgery, Even this apartment, just to ensure I could cut ties with Rita completely. And now, I knew I had made the right choice. Rita went hysterical, screaming, but the lawyer just left the papers and said, "This house is already mortgaged. It will soon be auctioned. Please pack up and leave." After he left, Rita sat there, crying and laughing all at once. Those were my will papers. When I had discovered Rita and Santiago's relationship, I had known I couldn't hold on anymore. This marriage had been one-sided from the start. For 3 years, I had been giving, and Rita had stayed indifferent. We had no children. She always said her career mattered more. I loved children. I wanted a lively home, but she didn't, and I never forced her. When I saw her going out with Santiago over and over, I had felt jealous. She said I was petty, that it was all for work. I kept compromising, and they kept taking advantage. She didn't want to divorce me because, as a corporate executive, a failed marriage would damage her career. All her efforts were for herself. I was just a tool. I hated her, but there was nothing I could do. Luckily, I got sick. Death was my only escape. I watched her punish herself with guilt, but I no longer felt pain. The lawyer worked fast. Soon my apartment was auctioned off and Rita was forced to leave. But to my surprise, she bought it back. When she moved in again, Rita went online and publicly admitted to her affair with Santiago, exposing all his secrets. He retaliated, and they tore each other apart. Rita went completely unhinged, dragging the company down with her by exposing all its darkest secrets. Santiago was fired. The company suffered major losses. Netizens watched the chaos unfold like a drama. In the end, everyone agreed Rita was the one at fault. When it was all over, she sat alone, holding my diary and stroking my photo. Then she swallowed a bottle of sleeping pills, just before she died. She looked at me and her eyes suddenly lit up as though she really saw me, and I turned and floated away. I was free. After Rita's death, the lawyer came to handle the rest. Thankfully, she agreed to bury me alone, changed my tombstone, and gave me the freedom I wanted. I let out a long sigh. Rita, in this life I was just unlucky to meet you. I hope in the next one I never see you again.